Welcome back. You're still tuned into Midcap Radar on CNBC-TV18. Quickly taking a look at the markets, continues to be very steady, and we have an 87-point downtick on the Nifty right now. The Bank Nifty is the one which is doing well. That one is up around 42 points. A lot of individual movers. Suntec Realty is one of them. The Q2 update has been better than what the street was working with. It's been a growth on a YY basis for the company in terms of pre-sales and collections. And this has happened at a time when other players have been talking about a YY fall. So if we look at the numbers, it's a 33% improvement in pre-sales and collections are up 25% as well. But this is about Suntec Realty. Let's talk about PVR Inox because that stock is in focus on the back of a mixed set of Q2 earnings. The net profit beat estimates while the net profit and margin missed estimates. To discuss the Q2 numbers and outlook, the MD of the company, Ajay Bijli, and CFO Gaurav Sharma is joining us now. Gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining in today. Mr. Bijli, let me come across to you first up. Q2 saw a sequential recovery. On a YY basis, it's a big decline. But if we talk about the trends going forward, Q3 is seeing big releases. What are the trends looking like? What is the outlook in terms of occupancies, in terms of margins and revenue growth as well?
Well, this quarter is getting compared to same period last quarter where we had very big blockbusters. So that's why it's looking muted. But a lot of movies which are supposed to come in Q2 have now shifted to Q3. So it's definitely looking much better in terms of occupancies, ATP and SPH, which is spent per head on food, on average ticket price. You've got Pushpa 2, which is a very big movie. Luckily, Pushpa 2 is not coming towards the end of December. It's coming at the beginning of December, on the 6th of December. Two big films on Diwali are coming. Singham as well as Bhool Bhulaiya. Then we got Venom, we got Gladiator, some other South movies are coming. So there's big Sitare Zameen Par is another film that may come of Aamir Khan. So lots of movies are coming, and I think if you compare sequentially from Q1, Q2 is better, and Q3 is looking far better than how Q2 has panned out.
Gentlemen, good afternoon, Mr. Bijli and Gaurav, Prashant here. Thank you very much for being with us. Substantially better, Mr. Bijli, would you want to put some numbers to it? How much better?
Substantially, I mean, it's difficult to predict, but you know, if you just go by the lineup of the movies and the kind of sort of response that we're getting from Singham, especially, and Bhool Bhulaiya is a very strong franchise. Pushpa 2, I mean, it can just surprise us all. I'm not a betting man, so I don't put bets on things, but it's looking like it's going to be probably as big as what Q2 was last year, I would say.
Got it. Gaurav, if you want to give us some of the sort of hygiene details for the quarter that we saw, what was occupancy, what was the average spends that you saw per ticket? What about F&B? And how do each of these matrices compare to the previous quarter?
Q2 was very strong for us. We saw almost 20% increase in revenues compared to the Q1. We did about 38.8 million admissions. That's roughly about 25.5% occupancy at an average ticket price of about 257. So it was a decent quarter. August was the strongest month for us on the back of Stree 2, which has become the highest grossing Hindi film of all time. We did a lot of re-releases during the quarter, which was a big hit with the audience, especially during the lean period. Some of the films like Tumbad, Rockstar, Laila Majnu did extremely well at the box office. In terms of F&B spending, it was about 136 rupees, which is same as last year, same quarter. So F&B offtake is pretty much intact. People are consuming and also spending on food and beverage within cinemas.
Gaurav, another question. When you're talking about the average ticket price, Q1 it was 235 rupees. That is what it came in as. So how did Q2 pan out over there? The spend per head in Q1 was, I believe, 134 rupees, and ad revenue came in a little over 93 crores in Q1. So where do all three of these matrices lie in Q2?
So our Q2 ATP was 257, almost 6.5% higher than Q1. Our average spending on F&B was 136 rupees, higher than last quarter. And ad revenue was also pretty strong. We did about 102 crores of ad revenue as against 93 crores, if I recollect right, in the Q1 that we did.
Right. Mr. Bijli, the other thing which has happened, and it's essentially re-releasing old hits, some of the classics, right? And that's, I think, worked very well for you. But that's for lean season, or is it going to be a strategy throughout? Will we see a lot of that in the third quarter as well? And what does it really do for margins, some of these re-releases?
Well, it just, not because I've been running cinemas for a long time, but it just shows the power of the big screen. I mean, these movies are available for literally for free or a fraction of a cost in people's comforts of their homes on various OTT platforms. And yet, they want to go out and see the magic of these movies on the big screen. It just shows that the format of watching films on the big screen is very much, at least in India, very much there. And, everyday movies are getting, have a potential for re-release. So therefore, the library is so large that I don't think it's a flash in the pan sort of a strategy. We will sustain it throughout. We had started with 115 rupees ticket price. Now we moved on to 151 rupees ticket price. We're also looking at some of the trends. Like, for example, horror films and comedy films are doing very well. So when we released Tumbad, the response was just phenomenal. Similarly, movies with music like Laila Majnu and Rockstar, they've done well. You can package these films, and the younger generation of today, they didn't see these movies on the big screen, whether it's Mr. Bachchan's Festival or whether it is films that we have packaged under festivals like Kareena Kapoor's Festival. So they also want to say, heard about these movies, and but have only an opportunity to watch it on the small screen. So when they hear about it coming on PVR INOX big screens, they're all coming out. So it's very much here to stay. 6% of our occupancies, if I'm correct, Gaurav, came from the second quarter. And even September itself, I think about 13% contribution is from re-releases. So, and plus, these are gathering dust, doing nothing for the producers as well. So therefore, even the film hire is attractive on this. And F&B spends continue to be the same when people come to watch these old movies as when they come to watch a new movie. So overall, it's a very good experiment for us.
They have to pay more for the popcorn than the ticket prices for these old releases, right?
No, more for the Sonal was saying more for the popcorn than for the
the older movies, right?
Guys, for popcorn, what is our SPH head? 136. Even that pinches you.
Okay, let me ask you, and I think with some of the newer movies, you don't know. You'll only know in hindsight whether they'll work or not, right? You've said this before as well. Some of the biggest it's so happened, it's not worked. And sometimes there have been sleeper hits, but with some of these re-releases, you're only getting to the market what has already worked. So you have that assurance. And as you said, it's, there's a big library out there. So you can continue to do this. But in terms of ticket prices, these are priced at a so margins overall for a re-release movie would be what? I mean, if you can give us a sense.
Gaurav, because of the film hire, what would be the
margin? Film hire charges are much lower, as Mr. Bijli said, for re-releases as compared to the new films which are released. But in terms of average ticket price, of course, as compared to a new film, it's at discount. While, I would not like to comment on specific numbers, but it's roughly about 30 to 35% lower than the new films ticket prices.
Okay. Gaurav, what is the plan with debt reduction? You do have a lot of monetization plans in place as well. You have a land bank of around 300 to 400 crore rupees. Can you tell us how does all of it come together, monetization and debt reduction?
I think we are keeping a very sharp eye on our leverage. If you look at our September results as compared to March, our net debt is down by about 114 crores. So we are, keeping a very close eye on our cost, especially the capex side. As far as monetization of some assets are concerned, we are working with the property consultants, and we have received some expression of interest, which we are evaluating. Obviously, we'll take a call if it makes economic sense to sell those properties, because in some of these locations there are existing operating cinemas. I would not like to get into details, but we'll keep you and the market posted on the progress on that front.
Mr. Bijli, could you give us an update as to how exactly has Street Junction scaled up? Last time you said that you're expecting around 2 stores to roll out, by the end of Q2 and by the end of FY25. What is your target as far as Street Junction is concerned?
You're talking about the food court.
The tie-up with Devyani, yes.
Yeah. Food courts. I think the first one will open mid-December.
Yeah.
And I think we're looking at about 4 to 6 opening maybe this financial year, and then going up to about 8 to 10 next year. So I think it is. So we're very excited about it. Because of our partners, Devyani has got a tried and tested model in the F&B business, very successful. And secondly, this is the first experiment that we have done where the pre-ticketed F&B sales will get accrued. Because up till now, all the F&B sales were post-ticketed. You buy a ticket, you go inside, and then you buy. But I was very keen after COVID to experiment with pre-ticketed, F&B business revenue, and we'll be doing more and more things on this to mitigate our risk from, just having F&B when people are watching a movie, and not other than that.
Mr. Bijli, just one more question. Something we've discussed is, and this is not true this year, but over the last couple of years, is Bollywood kind of taking a bit of a backseat in the overall scheme of things. Regional movies coming up in a big way, but I think Bollywood also needs to fire with hits and big ones for your business to also start to fire, right? So where are we in that? Where are we in that cycle, in your opinion? Because stuff would be under production. It'll take time to come out, and then people will start working on newer ideas. Have people moved, and are we going to see this? Bollywood coming out with things which work and which will continue, which will deliver big hits. What's your sense?
Yeah, whether one personally likes a movie or doesn't like a movie becomes a subjective issue. But as far as I'm concerned, Stree 2 has worked. There are so many films that came in the first half, which basically connected with the audiences. Now we got Singham coming. So there's a lot of a commitment from the film fraternity, Bollywood as well as South and Hollywood now, to come back on the big screen, because they've realized that if they make a movie, the economic rationale of releasing the movie on the big screen is still very, very strong. 60% of your revenues in the overall monetization journey of the content that gets created still comes from the big screen. You can't do that if you go straight to OTT. So I think smaller movies like Munjia also, small film, did very well. There were so many sleeper hits, I'm unable to recall them just now, which were made for a very small budget, but they did many times over their budget. So that is a very big, even Bad News did exceedingly well. So this only is encouraging the Bollywood industry to make movies for the big screen. And obviously everybody wants their movies to connect with the audiences. And the lineup, which I'm seeing in the next quarter and the next year, financial year, is looking very, very strong. Amir is making 2 films. Then Shah Rukh is coming with a movie. Ritik's film War 2 is coming. Ranbir, their movies are coming. Just now, Baby John, Singham, Ajay Devgan, Vicky Kaushal, Rajkumar Rao has come, is emerged as, somebody who's come up with the biggest ever Hindi film. That is saying something. So his lineup is also there next year. So I think what people perceive to be advantage, according to me, is a disadvantage, according to me, is an advantage. Because where in the world, in which market, you get so many films coming in, and every week the experience changes. So my menu changes every week. So I'm quite excited about that. We never stale. And because the quantity of films is so much that something or the other, if it doesn't do well, there's another set of movies that will come, which will make up for movies that don't do well.
All right, you got a long pipeline, and you rattled off some of those names, big ones. So we look forward to those movies, and we look forward to our next conversation as well. Mr. Bijli, Gaurav, thank you very much for joining us here on CNBC-TV18. It is a pleasure having both of you here. Thank you very much. Markets, just to take a quick look, down 80 on the Nifty, 25,044. And as we were starting that conversation with PVR, there was a flash on oil prices, Sonal. down another, I think, a couple of percent, I think 2% or so
Yes.
on top of what we saw, which was
Last
about a
night.
3% decline last night.
So it's around $74 a barrel that we are, and the demand forecast cut is something that is coming as a surprise as well suddenly, but of course that was expected after what's happening in China.
Yeah.
Before we take a break, I wanted to ask you which is the movie that you are looking forward to? There's so many coming.
Now, now that Mr. Bijli has rattled, so I'm going to go and Google. There's
Singham 3 coming. I'm sure you would be...
Singham 3 I want to watch. And actually there's a movie called Wild Robots.
Okay.
So
With you, I'll
kids.
hear such stories only, or such names only, Prashant.
The last one was got me really excited. Was not Interstellar. What was that? Oppenheimer.
Oh, okay, of course.
That of course ran for I think months, right? Almost 3-4 months or so.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully more.
All right. Exciting times ahead for the industry as well. But thank you, Prashant, for joining in for this conversation. With that, we'll slip into a short break. We'll get you more on the markets and stock-specific action on the other side. Stay tuned.